With the playoffs underway, I decided to change everything up, and I'm going to be seeding teams 1 through 16. So instead of having conferences with divisions and wildcard games, we're just going to be taking the top 16 teams in the league, and we're going to be starting off with Boston and the Calgary Flames. And although Calgary didn't make it into the original playoffs, they did finish 16th in the entire league, so they're making it today, and now they got to take on the Boston Bruins. So I don't expect they're going to be here too long. The first period made this game seem a lot closer than it would be, as Boston's going to score 5 unanswered to take game 1. But in game 2, luckily, Elias Lindholm's going to be answering back as Calgary is evening this one up. 3 first period goals would be enough for Boston, as they're going to be taking game 3, but in game 4, we're going to need overtime to sell this one, as Tyler Toffoli scoring a late goal to send us there. With Boston failing to get the puck out of their own zone with 9 minutes left in the second overtime, Blake Coleman's going to find Ruzicka open in front of the net. He's going to bury this one, and Calgary's evened up the series. But one team you definitely can't bet against is the Boston Bruins. Allmark's going to pick up the shutout while Boston's scoring 3, so now they're 1 game away from the next round. And in game 6, that's exactly what's happening. 4 unanswered in the third period from Boston's going to be sending them to the next round. The next matchup we're going to be seeing is the New York Rangers taking on the Dallas Stars. Dallas is going to come out flying in game 1 as they're picking up a shutout, but they're also getting 3 goals in the process. But New York's going to be responding in game 2 with a shutout of their own, and they're scoring 5 goals, so they just had to up Dallas. Patrick Kane's going to be picking up another 2 goals in game 3, and now the Rangers got the lead. And although the scoring from Patrick Kane's continuing into game 4, Dallas is stealing that one away to even up the series. And in game 5, after 60 minutes, we're going to have ourselves a tie game, so we're going to be headed to overtime. Early into the extra frame, Mika Zibanejad's bringing the puck into the offensive zone, and he's heading straight towards the goal line. But right before he gets there, he's going to sauce the puck over to Keandre Miller. He's getting a shot off, which is beating Jake Ottinger, and now the New York Rangers have the lead in the series once again, and they're 1 game away from the next round. But we're going to require more than one more game, because 2 Stars goals in the third period is going to be forcing a game 7. And in game 7, the Dallas Stars are completing the comeback. A 3-0 lead is going to be too much for the Rangers to overcome, and the Rangers, they're going to be falling while Dallas is advancing. The 2 newest expansion teams are going to be matching up next, and the Vegas Golden Knights taking on the Seattle Kraken. Before we get into this next matchup, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. I'm trying to hit 40,000 subscribers by the end of the month, and I won't be able to do that if you don't subscribe. It's free, it only takes a second, and it helps more than you can imagine. Vince Dunn's going to help carry the weight for Seattle in game 1 as he's picking up 2 goals while they get the shutout. And the offense from the Seattle Kraken continues to roll as they're picking up 5 goals, which includes 2 from Bjorkstrand. In game 3, Vegas had a commanding 5-2 lead, and everyone thought they were going to be taking this game. But Seattle's fighting back, and we've now got ourselves an overtime game. We're nearing the halfway point of the first overtime with Jared McCann bringing the puck into the offensive zone. He's getting a shot off, but none other than Andre Burakovsky is going to be right there for the rebound. He's going to bury this one, and this man continues to prove he's one of the most clutch playoff performers of all time. Because if you haven't seen my last few videos, I don't know what's going on with this dude, but he's elite when the playoffs come around. With Seattle attempting to complete the sweep, we're going to need another overtime game to settle this one. 6 minutes into double overtime, Bjorkstrand would send the puck over to Matty Beniers, who's going to get a great shot off. Tovanen's going to be fighting in front of the net for the loose puck. He's securing that one, and he's beating Robin Leonard. The Seattle Kraken, they're completing the sweep over the Vegas Golden Knights, and now they're off to the next round. And although we've seeded the playoffs 1 through 16, that's not going to ruin all the matchups, because we're going to have the Tampa Bay Lightning taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. No matter what happens, these 2 teams are still going to be matching up. In game 1, a late goal from Morgan Rielly is going to be allowing Toronto to take game 1. And in game 2, it looks like Samsonov's coming up clutch as he's going to be picking up the shutout, and Toronto, they now have themselves a 2-0 series lead. And the Leafs continue to push. I don't know what's going on. Not only is Tampa on the brink of being eliminated, but the brink of being swept. There's no way the Tampa Bay Lightning are getting swept to the Toronto Maple Leafs of all teams. Respectfully. Cooch isn't going to allow Tampa to get swept. He's picking up 2 goals in game 4, and Tampa's surviving another day. But they're only going to be surviving one more day, because in game 5, Toronto's coming out hot. They're potting 4 goals, and they're off to the next round, and Tampa, they're falling early. Heading into the second half of the first round matchups, we have the New Jersey Devils taking on the Winnipeg Jets. Mark Scheifele's going to be coming up huge for Winnipeg as he's scoring with 53 seconds left in the game to force overtime. And in overtime, it doesn't look like Mark Scheifele's done yet. He's going to get a shot off from the slot. He's beating Vanacek. He's got the hat trick, and he's helping Winnipeg take game 1. And Winnipeg's not looking back after that. They're potting 5 goals in game 2, and they've got themselves a 2-0 series lead. And then in game 3, Scheifele's coming up huge again. He's potting 2 goals, and now the Winnipeg Jets are 1 game away from the next round, while the New Jersey Devils are on the brink of getting swept. New Jersey would do absolutely everything in their power to avoid getting swept, but this game's going to be headed to overtime, so it's still a possibility. In the final moments of overtime, Winnipeg has the extra man on the ice for the delayed penalty as Pierre-Luc Dubois brings the puck into the zone. Nikola Ehlers is heading straight to the slot, and no one's picking this man up, so Dubois is saucing that over to him, and that's going to be an easy goal for Ehlers, and they're completing the sweep over the New Jersey Devils. Now that we know Winnipeg's off to the next round, we got to see who they're matching up against, as we got the Minnesota Wild taking on the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers offense is going to be flying in game 1 as they're going to be potting 5 unanswered to take game 1. But in game 2, there's not going to be as much scoring as we're headed to overtime in a 2-2 tie. John Klingberg is going to be bringing the puck into the neutral zone. He's going to quickly dish that over to Matt Boldy. As Boldy brings it into the offensive zone, Klingberg's catching up. He's getting the feed from him, and he's going to beat Stuart Skinner to even this series up. After a fantastic overtime game like that, we got to head to another one in game 3 as we're tied 3-3. But this time around in double overtime, Edmonton's going to be coming out on top. Some elite passing is going to allow Nuge to get the puck in front of the net, and then he's making a nice move to beat Gustafsson, and Edmonton's taking the lead in this series once again. Although Edmonton's got the lead, they're not rolling yet because Minnesota, they're going to dominate game 4. They're potting 6 goals, and now we've got ourselves a best of 3 series. As the series continues to go back and forth, Edmonton's taking game 5, and now Minnesota's on the brink of elimination. But in game 6, Minnesota's not going to be able to respond, and a shutout from Stuart Skinner is going to allow Edmonton to advance to the next round. Entering our final 2 matchups of the first round, we got the Colorado Avalanche taking on the LA Kings. For an answer from the LA Kings is allowing them to take game 1, but Colorado was responding with the help of 2 Nichushkin goals to even the series. A lone third period goal from Eric Johnson is going to allow Colorado to take a 2-1 series lead, and the Avs aren't looking back after that, as for an answer is going to put LA on the brink of elimination. And in game 5, the offense from the Colorado Avalanche was just too much to stop, and they're advancing to the next round as the Kings fall. So now we've got our final matchup of the first round, and it's a matchup we're currently watching right now, the New York Islanders taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. 2 huge goals from the defense is going to allow Carolina to take game 1 3-2, and then in game 2 a shorthanded goal along with a late goal from Nosen sending this one to overtime. And off the ensuing faceoff in overtime, Aho's breaking in between the defense, but he's dropping it back to Svechnikov and he's teeing this one up. An absolute rocket pass to Sorokin, and Carolina, they're expanding that to a 2-0 series lead. Freddie Anderson's going to be coming up huge in game 3 as he's making 32 saves, and now Carolina, they're 1 game away from the next round while the Islanders are on the brink of getting swept. And that's exactly what's happening. Kosh is going to be potting the lone third period goal, and the Carolina Hurricanes, they're off to the next round. With the first round in the books, we actually only saw 2 upsets, and that was the Seattle Kraken taking down the Vegas Golden Knights in a sweep, and the Winnipeg Jets taking down the Devils in a sweep. So ironically, the 2 upsets were both sweeps. Interesting. But of course, we have to get underway with the second round, and we have the Boston Bruins taking on the Dallas Stars. A late insurance goal from Frederick isn't going to be needed as the Bruins are going to be taking this one. And in game 2, it's going to be tied up after 60 minutes, so we're going to need some overtime. And on the ensuing faceoff with the Bruins on the power play, Hampus Lindholm's going to get a shot off, but it's going to end up hitting David Pasternak's skate. He's securing the loose puck, and he's beating Jake Ottinger to give Boston a 2-0 series lead. But one overtime game is going to be enough between these two because we're headed back to OT in game 3. And once again, it's going to be the Boston Bruins coming out on top. Tyler Bertuzzi is securing the loose puck, and he's ripping this one past Jake Ottinger, and this series is basically over. A scoreless third period for Dallas isn't going to allow them to come back into this game, so Boston's taking them down in a clean sweep. Moving on to our next matchup, we're going to have the Seattle Kraken taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the winner of this game is going to be taking on the Bruins. 2 goals in the first period from the Kraken is going to be enough as they're taking game 1 in a 2-1 victory, but Toronto is going to be responding with their own 2-1 win in game 2, so this series is all evened up. There seems to be a trend in this series because Toronto is winning another game 2-1, and now they've got themselves a 2-1 series lead. I've said 2-1 way too many times in the past 20 seconds. The offense for Toronto is going to be exploding in game 4. They're potting 6, and now they're 1 game away from the next round. But the Seattle Kraken, they're not going to go down easy. Brandon Tanev's potting 2, and he's keeping them in this series. And in game 6, this one's been going back and forth the entire way, but Tavares is scoring with 40 seconds left in the game, so we're off to overtime. And right off the face-off in the third overtime, who's going to be the hero once again? Andre Burakovsky's picking up the assist. He's not going to be scoring the overtime winner this time around. Jordan Eberle's getting it. Burakovsky, he's always in the right place at the right time. What can I say about this guy? And then in game 7, the Toronto Maple Leafs are blowing a 3-1 series lead. Our next matchup is going to be an all-Canadian one as we got the Winnipeg Jets taking on the Edmonton Oilers. In game 1, Nugent Hopkins is going to come out the hero. He's scoring with 13 seconds left in the game, and we're off to overtime. But it looks like Nugent's heroics aren't going to be lasting long. Pierre-Luc Dubois is tying up the centerman. Perfet is going to proceed to play a bit of catch with Pyong, and then he's going to bury the overtime winner. So if you haven't watched a ton of my videos, first of all, subscribe. But the Winnipeg Jets are something different in NHL 23. I don't know what it is about this team, but they score goals, and they score a lot of them. They're going to be potting 6 in game 2, and then in game 3, they're scoring 4 unanswered, and they got themselves a 3-0 series lead. And then in game 4, 2 Evander Kane goals aren't going to be enough, and the Winnipeg Jets are completing the sweep over the Edmonton Oilers. We've got our finals matchup of the second round, and that's going to be the Colorado Avalanche taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. The Avs are going to come out dominating game 1 as they're potting 5 while also picking up a shutout in the process. And then in game 2, Georgiev's locked in, back-to-back shutouts, and Colorado's taking this series. The Avs continue to dominate in game 3. They're going to be picking up another 4 goals, but Georgiev, he's allowing 1 goal, and that's going to be in the final 4 minutes and 43 seconds. So he just went 8 straight periods without allowing a goal. With the way he's playing, I don't see how you could shut this team down. Right after saying that though, Carolina's going to score 3 goals in game 4, but Colorado's also scoring 3, so that means we're going to need a bit of overtime. 5 minutes into the extra frame with Landeskog bringing the puck into the offensive zone, he's going to find Nathan McKinnon wide open in front of the net. He's making a nice little move. He's got Freddie Anderson absolutely lost. He's scoring the overtime winner, and he's also allowing Colorado to advance advance into the Final Four. So we've entered the Final Four and we got some great matchups to watch. The Boston Bruins taking on the newest franchise in the league, the Seattle Kraken, while the Winnipeg Jets, they're going to have their hands full with the Colorado Avalanche. I think we'll start in the top half of the bracket with the Boston Bruins taking on the Seattle Kraken. This game's going to be back and forth the entire way, but Seattle's coming out in a close 4-3 win. But Boston's going to easily be able to respond in game 2. They're scoring 5 and they've got this series evened up. The Bruins are going to continue to push with the help of 2 Patrice Bergeron goals. They're taking this one 4-1. The offense is finally going to wake up for Seattle as they're potting 4 in the first period and they're going to finish the game with 6. When the games get tough, of course, the Boston Bruins are going to be showing out, and that's exactly what's happening in game 5. They're giving themselves a 5-goal lead and now they're 1 game away from the Stanley Cup final. Alright, so Seattle's going to be winning this game 6-4, but can we talk about Jaden Schwartz and Yanni Gourde scoring 4 seconds apart? Schwartz is scoring at 7:24. Yanni Gourde's then going to score at 7:20. How is that possible? But you know what's more impressive than that? Seattle eliminating the Boston Bruins and making their way to the Stanley Cup final. And who are they going to match up against? That's going to be either the Winnipeg Jets or the Colorado Avalanche. Connor Hellebuyck's going to stand on his head in game 1 as he's picking up the shutout as Winnipeg's coming out on top 2-0. Game 2 is going to be another low scoring one, but this one's going to be headed to overtime. In the final moments of overtime, Cale Makar is going to try to poke the puck away from Nikolai Ehlers. Although Ehlers is losing the puck, he's going to quickly regain it, and now he's on a breakaway and he's beating Georgiev, so now Winnipeg, they got themselves a 2-0 series lead. The Colorado Avalanche don't plan on going down 3-0 in the series, so they're stealing game 3 away with 6 goals. And then in game 4, a late goal from Lars Eller is going to even this series up at 2 games apiece. Mark Scheifele is going to play a huge part in game 5 as he's going to be picking up 2 goals, and Winnipeg's pushing Colorado to the brink of elimination. And then in game 6, a 5-1 lead is going to be too much to overcome for the Colorado Avalanche. They're falling, and now we got ourselves the Stanley Cup matchup, the 12th seeded Seattle Kraken taking on the 14th seeded Winnipeg Jets. Yeah, so I seeded teams 1 through 16, and out of all the options we could have gotten, we got the 12 and the 14th. That just proves that anything can happen in the NHL. And it also proves that anything can happen on NHL 23 because this is a terrible game. But that's neither here nor there, nor anywhere actually. Let's go see who's going to win a Stanley Cup and who's coming out on top. In the final few minutes of this game, Seattle's offense is going to be waking up as they're going to be scoring 2 goals in just over a minute, and they're stealing this game away from Winnipeg. But of course, you can't doubt the offense of Winnipeg because they're just elite. They're scoring 5 goals, they're shutting out the Seattle Kraken, and now this series is all tied up. And speaking of things that are tied, game 3, it's tied 2-2, and we're going to need a bit of overtime. Early into the extra frame, Mark Scheifele's getting a shot off, but it's going to get lost in traffic. Blake Wheeler's going to find the puck, and he's beating Martin Jones to give Winnipeg the lead in the series. Winnipeg would try to build on that momentum, but they're going to fail as Jordan Eberle's going to pick up a hat trick to even this series up. And in game 5, the Kraken continue to push as they're going to be potting 5 once again, and now they're 1 game away from hoisting the Stanley Cup. And in game 6, that's exactly what's going to happen. 5 goals once again for the Seattle Kraken, 15 goals in their past 3 games, and when you're scoring 15 goals in 3 games, you're winning some games, and that's exactly what Seattle's doing, and they're hoisting the Stanley Cup. So if the playoffs are seeded 1 through 16, I guess we know who our Stanley Cup champs would be.